for it. Welcome to Martial Secrets. I'm Lawrence Kane.
Hey, and welcome. I'm Kris Wilder. We have got some good stuff today, don't we?
It's always good stuff. Come on.
Yeah, I know. But I always like it when, have you noticed that like on every late night show, whether it's Conan or Kimmel or Craig Ferguson or whoever it is, they're always going, we've got a great show for you. Nobody ever says, we've got,
Yeah. We're showing up, collecting a paycheck, but you're watching anyway, and we got sponsors. Yeah.
By the way, I like Craig Ferguson. I like his show. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not. But
No, I haven't. It's pretty good stuff, huh?
Yeah, well, he's a really affable guy. He played Mr. Wick on Drew Carey's show.
Very cool.
But anyway, I have to tell you the story. I want to make a little divergent thing here. And I don't know if you can find this anymore on the web, but, they'll put up clips of shows, like NBC, CBS, they'll put them up there.
Right.
Well, anyway, this was when Britney Spears was going through her big meltdown.
Big meltdown, yeah, that's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, but there was, basically there was a reveal that, this woman isn't that stable. And
you don't say.
Yeah, but Craig Ferguson got out there, and during his monologue, he talked about how he wasn't going to make fun of her because this was a real serious tragedy. That she's got a problem, she's got children, she's got a divorce, and those kinds. And it was really eloquent, and he spoke to it, and it really kind of moved me because the guy is AA. He makes no secret of the fact that he was a very severe alcoholic, and he spoke from his heart, and it was like, man, I'm in with Craig Ferguson. That guy.
Very cool. So he's actually taking it seriously. It's not just the comedy routine.
Yeah. It wasn't just let's go out and make here a couple quips and everything. And I understand, that's people's jobs. Jimmy Kimmel and Conan and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's what they do, or Jimmy Fallon and all that kind of stuff. But Ferguson was human that night, and he's talked about that. Anyway, that was just a little.
That's cool though. It's nice to occasional divergence to seriousness, even if you're a comedian. In some ways it's almost more profound, right?
Well, it was real. Is what it was. It was real. Yeah. Hey, let's talk about Judo Kata. Let's talk about
5-minute tattoos.
And how about you have to keep your sense of who you are, how you teach, and what you teach.
That's kind of long. Don't you have something that's more pithy and funny for that?
Be yourself.
Hey, there you go. And how about at the Apple Cup? Hey, this guy's a black belt.
Yeah, the Apple Cup for those people. Remember, if you're a listener to Martial Secrets, you know that we somehow work in the Husky Cougar rivalry, and it is about the football rivalry, and the game that they play. It's like Notre Dame and USC play for the Shillelagh, and everybody's got their thing they play for. The Red River Shootout or whatever it is, and ours happens to be the Apple Cup.
Yep.
And so anyway, we're going to talk about that rivalry. Well, and actually, name-calling, invasions of personal space, and alcohol consumption.
Alcohol consumption in an Apple Cup? I'm shocked.
I know.
I tell you.
Hey, what's Judo Kata?
Judo Kata, it's so, well, you and I both used to take judo back in the day.
Used to. I still do, baby.
Okay, well, you still do, but I used to. And no wonder why you walk funny sometimes. But in seriousness, a lot of people who take judo, at least at the lower ranks, don't realize judo actually has kata.
7 of them.
7 of them, and they're two-person drills effectively. And kata means proper form, if I remember.
Pattern, depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, and so it's a way to practice the art in a way that you're not just doing the randori or free sparring, and it's kind of cool actually.
There's a joke. At senior nationals, judo senior nationals, you know why the room is always so hot during kata competition?
No, why?
There's no fans.
I will say that watching judo kata is not as exciting as watching karate kata, but it's tied to the style and philosophy of the art. Yeah.
It's the dictionary.
That's a good way to say it.
Reading a dictionary is not that exciting. But anyway, I know Nanga no Kata. Of course, I had to do that for promotion. But Judo Kata is taught at different levels for genders. And the other night I was down at the dojo, and Nagai Sensei I swear she knows her stuff. I mean, she's really impressive, and I love her dearly. She's got to be 410. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
yeah. And but anyway, she came up. She says, "I had a dream that I taught you No Kata," and it's like, okay, let's go. And so she pulled me off to the side and started teaching me this.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, which is very cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I don't know if this is the way it is now, but I think that it's taught to women earlier than it is to men.
That's what I read a book on that. I'm blanking on the name of the Fukuda Sensei, I think is the one who wrote that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
And she made a
I've
comment.
met her. I met her.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I haven't.
Yeah, I sat with her. I sat with her in the stands at Senior Nationals in 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Very cool. So for those folks who don't do judo, she's 10th dan, 9th dan, I forget.
It's Uber Don.
Yeah.
But she was promoted by Kano himself.
Yeah, and she's one of these. She's also little. She's what, maybe 5'1" or something.
I think she's also the highest ranking woman.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, I think she must. If she's not 90, she's close.
Yeah, and she's still working it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she sits on the edge of the mat.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not,
yeah.
I mean,
She's still involved.
She's still involved. Yeah. I mean, she's not out there, beating people up or something. But I mean, she's, it's pretty easy when you get to that age to stop and, go do something else, right? And she's still out there and judging and whatnot. So.
Well, anyway,
yeah,
Juno kata. So it's the soft kata. And it's really got some interesting stuff in it. And I don't want to go into, your foot's placed here and your hand's placed there, because that makes for a boring podcast. But suffice to say that, you can go and look it up on YouTube and see it for yourself. And honestly, it requires a lot of study because it's just a little strange.
Yeah, interesting. It's is it one of those things? What's that? I forget the Japanese term, but the air throw.
Oh, yeah. No.
Is it that sort of thing where you're, it's almost a little bit Aikido-like, or is it just?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my understanding of it is just the first two sets, so I don't know. And I mean, understanding, which means that I can ape it like a monkey. I mean, it doesn't mean I understand it in the slightest. But
well, that brings up a good point, though. There's being able to do the kata and there's knowing the kata, right?
Oh, that's another podcast.
Okay, well, we'll put that on the agenda.
But anyway, yeah, getting a chance to do Juno, and I think what you're hearing there, or hearing here, is that there's work required to be able to understand this stuff. We talked about it being a dictionary. We talked about being able to understand it and do the pattern and so forth. Boy, the level to understand this thing. I mean, because I look at it and I honestly go, I don't understand that.
Yeah, and you've been doing judo for what, 25 years?
Oh, no, not 25 years.
How long ago did you start? I thought you started in the 80s.
No, it was like 93 or 92,
okay.
94, somewhere in there.
Well, it's still been a long time.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, point is, you're a black belt in judo. You've been doing it for a while, and you come up with this new thing, and it's like, whoa. I'm still learning. It's a continuous process, right?
You know what I think we can close this out with is that whatever the martial art, you never find the bottom of the cup.
Five-minute tattoos.
All right, so There was you remember the old dojo?
Yes, I do.
We had a floor in there. We had a wood floor. It was suspended, so it had a little bit of spring in it, but it's still, after a couple hours, it bust your teeth out standing on that thing. And the building was built in, I think, the 20s or something. The ceiling, well, Jeff Stevens, who's 6'1", could just stand and reach with his hand and touch the ceiling.
Yeah, kind of hang out and hold himself up with it.
Yeah. It was it was a small place, but right next door there was the tattoo parlor.
Yeah, well, we had several neighbors next door. They seemed to move frequently, but for a while, we had the tattoo parlor next door. So we're the dojo with the bullet hole in the window and the tattoo parlor next door.
Yeah, and that's the way I tell it. In fact, when Yamashiro Sensei was here, I took him out front. I said, "There's our bullet hole," and he's just like looking at me like, "You Americans are insane."
Yeah.
But anyway, the tattoo guys next door. It became kind of evident that they were doing these 5-minute tattoos, which people would pull in and they'd go in. And we'd think like, oh, they're visiting or whatever. And then another card pull up and then another card. And they'd spend no more than 5 minutes, even less in there. And it was like, oh, gee, I wonder what they're doing there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can, if you use the restroom in the dojo, it was kind of up against the you could kind of hear the tattoo parlor stuff going on inside. And you could sort of smell that, that's right.
Well, yeah, and because it was such a little hot box, we would open up the back door and open up the front door so we could get airflow through there. Yep. But the problem was the tattoo artistes were going out back and firing up the ganja, which was blowing through the dojo, and I'm standing there in front of a bunch of kids. Yeah. They must be having a barbecue. Yeah, Timmy, that's what it is. It's a barbecue.
It's a barbecue. Yeah.
Those guys were, they were nice enough neighbors. Because they're stoned to bejesus, so it's not gonna. They're not gonna cause a lot of problems. But that was the 5-minute. That's what we started calling it. Was the
5-minute tattoo?
Yeah, they finally moved on. They couldn't make it. They were great artists, lousy businessmen.
Yeah.
And I guess it's kind of hard when you're standing there staring at your art going, dude. But yeah, that was one of our neighbors there. That was a great, we could always talk about that. And that's the way I describe it. Oh yeah, we had a bullet hole in the dojo. And the other thing too is that, we broke almost every window in that dojo. Ito,
and a couple walls.
Yeah. Ito threw Tony into the wall. That was a good one. It left a hole the size of his hip and his whole torso. And then there was the time Ito threw Devin through the window.
Through the window, yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing that kept Devin from going out the window was the steel cage, the outside on the window, to keep the burglars out and stuff. So, yeah, it was like having it was a lot like with Ito on the floor. It was a lot like getting in a chute with a bull.
Although we probably should put a quick little context here that he wasn't trying to hurt anybody. He's just really good, and he didn't let up.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, there's the story of the 5-minute tattoos.
Be yourself.
Yeah, have and keep your sense of who you are and how you teach and what you teach. You've taught a lot of different formats, the community college as well as, for your employment, you do now and so forth. But, I've met these people that aren't themselves when they teach, and it's not good.
No, it's it's really odd, especially some of these guys that, they're the nicest, mellowest people that you meet, and then they walk into the dojo, and it's like, all of a sudden they become a DI or something.
Oh, well, that's coming up. That's coming up in the yeah. But what you're talking about there is the flip from the nature of who you really are. Because you know what? I'll tell you something. I can sense that. And I've been to a lot of seminars. I've met a lot of people. I've done a lot of stuff. And when somebody is not genuine, I honestly hold everything that they say suspect.
Yeah.
Not that I don't anyway. I'm not really suspicious by nature, but I'm always, suspicion isn't the right word. I'm going to test stuff. I'm not just going to accept things.
Most martial artists do, right?
No, I would argue no.
Really?
Yeah. Think about it. Sensei says. Okay.
Well, okay. I guess I'm thinking the difference between higher ranking folks and lower ranking folks.
Yeah. Well, there's your delineation.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. When you're first starting, it's like, ooh, Sensei can walk on water and cut pop bottles in half with his bare hand, and of course, actually you can, but it's a trick. It's kind of this deification of the Sensei thing, as opposed to when later on when you start getting to the let's see if that really works.
Yeah.
I want to learn more.
Yeah, to get back to the be who you are. That's in integrity, and I can hear that. And so even if somebody's throwing something out there that I don't really necessarily agree with, or I consider it to be suspect, or I'm going to go test it, if they're of a good heart and they're being who they are, I'm kind of good with it. I don't really have a problem with it. But if they're not being who they are, then everything is suspect to me.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point for the listeners. How do you know? How can you? What's a way that you can kind of sense when somebody's, because you're picking this up with folks you haven't met before, right?
Oh yeah.
So how you doing it?
Oh well, the thing that I do is I look for. Well, it's really kind of hard to describe, but mechanically, I look to their eyes, and when they say something, I look to their eyes, and if they're, and I can tell when I look in their eyes whether or not they believe what they're saying or not, and that's that. The other thing too is that if they laugh, I mean, it sounds kind of strange, but I want to hear somebody laugh, and because that laugh will tell me what I've got. Have I got a nervous laugh? Have I got a deep funny laugh? Have I got somebody who's found joy in what they're doing? Because if they got that nervous laugh, or they're placing the laugh in there incorrectly, so it's awkward. So I look for the laugh and I look to the eyes, and those are the two things that I look for.
Yeah, and part of the challenge in describing this is really what you're talking about is part of situational awareness, right? It's something that you've refined over a long period of time, and you're reading the people's body language. But the thing is that even for folks who aren't really good at that, if the body language and the words don't match, you should have a gut visceral reaction that says there's something wrong here, and listening to it, right?
Yeah, well, there's a guy I know, and I like him. He's a Kenpo guy, and he's not the most accessible individual on the planet. And that's to say that he has his friends, and he holds his friends closely. And if you're on the outside of that, then you're on the outside.
Right.
And it's not a moral judgment about the quality of who you are. It's about him and how he chooses to express himself in a group. His stuff is bang on. It's really solid stuff.
That's the guy who did that seminar.
But
strip mall dojo thing we went to, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
but,
Can't remember his name, but I know he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think that some people get a little bit, they consider him to be a little standoffish or a little too inaccessible or anything. He's not. It's just that's the way he's chosen to live his life. It's like you're on the inside or you're on the outside, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. And once you understand that, then the guy's good. And
he was a good instructor, though. I mean,
oh yeah,
I've only met him the one time, but he had some good stuff.
Yeah, like I said, his stuff's bang on. And that's kind of a flip side. I've met people that are too accessible, and their stuff is trash. And when I say their stuff is trash, I mean I really seriously just look at it, and it's like, you know what? I don't want to even be near you, because I don't want any of your stink on me, because it's an embarrassment, and I think you know it, because when I look at your eyes, I think you know it, but you're still going to live this facade.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, because when you there's a lot of responsibility in teaching martial arts. If you teach people stuff that doesn't work, you can really get them hurt.
I mean, yeah. Well, there's that. That's another topic. Yeah, that's a whole nother. I mean, we could do a volume on that, and and then we can just start lining up all the listeners behind us, because every one of them have got a story about it too.
Yeah.
No question. But that's the thing is that it's a hard audit. You have to know who you are and where you are.
Yeah, and that's what it really boils down to, right? It's being yourself, knowing who you are, and not faking it when you teach, and people will sense that genuine. It's the personality, it's the style, it's the love of the art and whatnot, and you know it once there, right?
Yeah, you do, and I'll tell you this too: if somebody, instead of having to have all the answers and all of this and all of that, if you've got one gem, one nugget, and that is it for you, and I'm in. You don't have to, gild this thing for me. You don't have to add gold plating or anything to it. If you've got one solid nugget and that is it, I'm there. Bring it. I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, nobody knows everything. And if I learn one new thing, even if it's a little thing, every time I train, that's gold.
Yeah.
Apple Cup.
Free, space.
I'm sure that people have gotten really tired of that by now, but we don't.
But see, here's the thing: is that it's humorous, then it's not funny, then it becomes humorous again. You see, so that's the way that works.
There you go. So Apple. So you're at the Apple. So this isn't one that I was at. This is
because you don't ever go to Pullman.
I've been there once.
No one ever
got a rash or something.
Yeah, it's possible. We're at the Apple Cup, and it was the day had started out with amounts of alcohol being consumed.
Yeah. So just for reference, okay. So Pullman had, well, actually, it's a little different now than it used to be, but it used to be kind of in the middle of nowhere, and about the only thing you could go do was go over to Moscow, Idaho, where the drinking age was lower and drink.
I was 19, yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's sort of a culture, and I don't know if that's where it came from or not, but there's sort of a culture of you go to football to drink.
Well,
maybe that's just because you guys had such a bad team.
Well, yeah, it goes on and on and on. But this is the big rivalry game, so I don't want to make it sound like everybody was falling over blind drunk or anything. But everybody's having a good time.
They were, yeah.
Everybody's having a good time. It's tailgates, barbecues, it's beers, it's the occasional shot of some bizarre thing, and all this kind of stuff.
And to be fair, so you went to WSU, I went to UW, and guys in my fraternity were shooting watermelons up with Everclear, letting them kind of percolate for a week and bring them to games. So it's not like we didn't drink too.
Yeah. Well, anyway, okay. So anyway, I kind of got this group of people, and we've had season tickets for, I don't know, 15 years, whatever it is. Yep. And we all sit together and blah, blah, blah.
I will point out, though, that I get paid to watch football.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But I'm the guy that is, because I don't drink, I become the designated driver. Right. I sort of become the den father. It's like, whoa, over here,
You're
over
the
here.
Responsible
yeah,
one.
I'm the responsible one. Not that I have to rein it in a lot or anything, because actually it's just kind of like, it's like watching a bunch of chimps in the at the zoo in the tire cage, but I do enjoy myself.
That really is a good visual. I think it's accurate.
So anyway, Nancy, this friend of ours, comes over, and we're at the field house before the game, and she goes, this guy's been really bothering me, man. We were up at the Valhalla, this bar. We were up at the Valhalla, and this guy was staring at me and everything, and then he followed me, and now he's right over here, and it's like, we take a look, and it's like, wow, the dude's there, And so we kind of do the, hey, we see you, we acknowledge you, we know who you are, look,
Yeah.
so that he knows that we know that he knows.
And is he smart enough to see? A lot of people aren't smart enough to pick up on that look and realize what it means. Did he get it or no?
Well, at this point, one of the guys in the group, Turk, goes, hey, you, which turns into, now it's got to turn into a confrontation,
great.
Instead of just the look.
Yeah, the look generally works if people notice what it is, but so now we're turning monkey dance.
Yeah, so the guy doesn't respond to hey you, he just sort of still is looking, and then it turns into hey you, I'm talking to you, come here. Okay, so my spine becomes a little more firm, and the guy comes over and he's like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, hey man, you've been following. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, look, we know what's going on. Just knock it off, man. What's your problem? So instead of just dealing with it, nipping it in the bud like Barney Fife would do, it turns into this just mess. And it's like, I didn't do that. Yes, you did. I did following da-da-da-da, you better da-da-da, all this kind of stuff. And then it turns into this. And I'm standing there just going, okay. And I've got position, so if anything happens, I'm okay. I can get on this guy. Because I'm not gonna intervene on Turk because, well, he's my blood relative. So I'm going with the other guy. And so, I got position, and I'm waiting to see if this thing's going to simmer down or whether it's going to take off. And then, Turk looks at the guy and points to me and goes, you better watch it. This guy's a black belt.
God.
Which is just, perfect. It's like, okay, great. You started it, and now you're threatening him with me.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks so
and
much.
Go hide behind you too.
Yeah, thanks so much. Well, it kind of ended. I just kind of intervened, and I said, "Hey, look, man, this is the deal. Just walk away. Just walk away. Quit. I don't know what's going on, but we don't need this. You don't need it.
Down. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just move on." And the only thing that didn't happen at this point, because I was anticipating it, is because I'd gotten the guy turned around and I had my hand on his upper back and we're kind of walking along away and I'm kind of going, yeah, I know, doing that thing, right?
Right.
Where I could have been a bouncer, I suppose. But anyway.
Well, that's actually a good bouncer trick. Yeah. You've got position and they don't really they take it as friendly.
See, I've learned some things.
Yes, you have.
So anyway, all I expect, and I didn't hear it, but I expected to hear over my shoulder, yeah, you walk away.
Okay.
But it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Thankfully.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Anyway, that concludes our little free space thing, and that also brings this episode to a close. Lawrence, if somebody wanted to email you and complain about our podcast, how would they do it?
LAKane at ix.netcom.com. That's LAKANE at ix.netcom.com.
And you can reach me, Kris Wilder, at, let's see, The Dojo at quidnunc.net. That's The Dojo at QUIDNUNC.net. And, hey, thanks for listening. And as always,
be safe, everyone.
And be well.
Nice work.
So we're The Dojo with the bullet hole in the window and the tattoo parlor next.